Flip is up. We're fucking back. We're back.
We're back.
We're back. This is our third intro because I don't know.
Oh my god! Don't tell him that.
We're messing up.
uh,
And so yeah, this is two spooky dudes. We got the whole gang here finally. We got Ivan. We got my cousin
What's up?
Mammoth.
Yo,
But yeah, he he had no choice in being here. I kind of forced him, right, mate?
I was forced into this.
But yeah, we're gonna be. This is gonna be a creepy pasta podcast. We're gonna be reading and narrating, creepy stories for fun mostly. I mean, we all kind of generally like scary stories, getting spooky. I like suspense and scary stories. I've listened to a good amount. Like usually when I'm working or just chilling, I like to listen to them. But yeah, that's all the background I have on that. And then Ivan.
I like Mr. Nightmare on YouTube. He's a good one that I would listen to. But I don't get as spooky as Alvaro, so we'll see.
Yeah, and then I called Mammoth earlier, and he doesn't really read or hear too many.
Oh, he's about to.
Yeah, he's scared of spiders though, right, mate?
I do be scared of spiders. I like
Ron
getting
Weasley.
spooky. I like getting spooky, but I don't like getting spooked.
True. All right.
Hmm.
Let's freaking go. Okay. So today we have for you. I put a camera on my cat. Written by Ryan Peacock. All right, so let's start. Ever since my wife Adeline disappeared, it's been just Charlie and me all alone. I don't mind it. I've never much cared for company. If I'd wanted visitors, I wouldn't have tried to get as far away from civilization as I could now, would I? Charlie's pit stops back at the house for food, sleep, and depositing the presents he sometimes brings back are enough for me. In the meanwhile, I occupy my time with books and occasionally television. Adeline left me behind more than her fair share of the former. She had a thing for mystery novels. I never used to take any interest in them, but nowadays, well, I suppose reading the ones I knew she enjoyed lets me feel close to her again. My daughter says I'm going crazy up here. I tell her that I've never been happier. I don't want to go back to the city and rot away in some old folks' home with a condescending nurse talking to me like I'm a child. I'm 85 and I'm as sharp as I ever was. Not quite as spry, no, but if anything really needs fixing, I have a telephone and I have the internet. I can call for help if I need it. I intend to live out my days here in this house with the woods stretching endlessly on behind me. I'll breathe fresh air, relax in solitude, and wait for the Lord to tell me that my time is done. Until then, I will do all I can to enjoy the time I have left on my terms.
What's interesting is that he's 85.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
a surprise.
Old. He's old.
Usually we don't read a lot of creepypastas that are like, I'm 85 years old.
Oh, that's true. Like grandpas or like,
yeah,
the older crowd. And this guy,
yeah.
So his I've read this already. Jaime and Mammoth and Ivan haven't. So this is new to them, but so basically this guy, he lives alone. He lives in the outskirts, like hard outskirts in the woods by himself. He doesn't like the city, and if he needs anything, he goes to the internet and stuff like that. So it's just him and the cat. Charlie is the cat.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Of course, that said, my daughter Sarah still worries after me more than she ought to. I suppose I should find it sweet, but really a little it's a little annoying. I love her dearly, and I'm glad we raised her right, yada yada. But when I'm trying to read, I don't need her knocking on my door to fuss over me. I'm sitting in my chair on the porch. I have coffee and a sandwich. I am not going anywhere, and even if I was, I'm hardly feeble. Regardless, she insists that I need the company. I gave up fighting her on that. I figure she's doing it more for her own peace of mind than anything else. I was never there for my father in his twilight years. He and I weren't on speaking terms, and after he passed, well, I suppose I'd wish one of us had the balls to say one last thing, and I suppose I wish that it had been me. Besides, sometimes she brings me gifts. Not quite as fancy as the ones Arlie sometimes brings, but fancy in their own way. Cameras to monitor the outside so I can see who's coming from my table computer, and I suppose the table computer herself. I've adapted well enough to it all, I suppose. I'd like to think I've done some better than most my age. And if I'm being honest, I like how easy technology has made some things. Even if they were things I didn't really ask for in the first place.
Okay, so for an old guy, he seems like he's still like, you know, he still knows what's up. Like
Yeah,
he can fend for himself.
still got his wits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His mind's intact. And so his daughter, I guess, wants to keep him company, but I guess he just wants to be alone, right? Like,
Yeah.
He wants to be left alone.
But he has cameras for security.
Cameras to monitor.
Yeah, apparently he has a bunch of security cameras.
And he has it, like, he could even see, like, what's happening on his tablet. It's kind of nuts. For an 85
Oh,
year
yeah, I
old.
mean, he lives, like, on the outskirts, so I'm guessing, yeah, because, like, anybody could come and, you know, steal or, I don't know, you never know, right?
Does this guy have a
Yeah.
weapon?
Does he have a what?
He should have, like a gun, right? If he's just out.
Maybe we'll find out
Yeah,
later.
Maybe he does. Maybe he does. But, okay. The other day, Sarah asked me if Charlie's long absences bothered me. I told her they didn't. Charlie has always been an outdoor cat. He's as much a creature of the forest as the birds and the squirrels. Adeline used to worry after him since there were coyotes and bears out there. But I don't. I reckon that if Charlie's made it long without running into trouble, he knows what he's doing, and judging by the things he sometimes brought home, I got the impression he wasn't exactly in danger. It wasn't often, but every now and then when Charlie came back, he'd have some sort of trinket with him. Sometimes it was junk, bottle caps, pieces of old cans, and whatnot. Sometimes he'd have coins, usually just small change. But every now and then, he'd have something a little more valuable, jewelry and whatnot. Some of it was fake. A few pieces looked pretty real. I always kept the real looking ones in a drawer in case anyone ever came looking for them. It didn't seem right to sell them. I figured they'd probably have dropped somewhere in the woods by hikers and Charlie had found them. Either that or he was raiding some kind of garbage pile. It was hard to say for sure. Regardless, I got the vibe that he was staying out of trouble. Some cats are dumb. Charlie isn't. I've got more faith in that cat than I've had in most people. Still, Sarah had her question to ask.
You don't wonder where he's going at all? She asked. I got the impression that she asked more out of genuine curiosity than anything else, and that told me she was trying to work her way up towards some kind of point. What that cat does is his business, I said, and you're not in least bit curious, huh?
All right, what did you buy? The sales pitch was getting a little annoying and Sarah just smiled sheepishly. Okay, well, I just thought it might be funny, you know, but they've got these cameras people wear when biking and stuff. You can attach them right to your body. Isn't that neat?
I suppose I didn't really see the point to it, but I was playing along. It might be cool. It'll give you something to look at when it gets back.
Okay, so what do you think? So they
This
want
is
to put
still
a
the
cat
camera.
camera on the cat.
There's a lot of TikToks of that nowadays.
Yeah,
Cats,
we were talking about that before we were recording.
cats
I haven't
on
seen them,
TikTok with cameras.
mate.
I've been watching them for a long time. Like even before it was popular, there was like this cat in China. It's so random, but you just see like a feed of him fucking just roaming around by himself.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And mate, you watch the fighting ones, mate?
Or I saw one where like this cat has like 20 girlfriends. I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh my god.
Living my dream.
20 girlfriends. Girlfriends. I saw a video once. Never mind. It was just some guy, and he was like, "Does anybody want to be my girlfriend?" And like, I don't know. It was cringe, but I never got that how he said it like out of my head. So like right now, I hate that. I hate the way he says it. Anyways, truth be told, I thought the whole idea was a little stupid. But she had gotten my attention, I suppose. Something in my gut told me that this was the sort of question that was gonna keep me up. Besides, Sarah seemed pretty interested in it, and as much as my daughter can annoy me sometimes, I've never once been able to say no to my little girl. And I wasn't about to start now that she hit 50.
I suppose, I repeated. Charlie put up with those ridiculous sweaters your mother always put on him around Christmas time. He'll probably tolerate this too, and I don't imagine it'll do him any harm. It won't, trust me. This will be fun, I promise. I could hear the years melting away in her voice, and beneath the lines of age and gray at her temples, I could see the same 2-year-old I'd not so begrudgingly sat and had imaginary tea with once upon a time. She split into a full grin, reached into her purse to take out the camera, which looked like a small gray box. She even bought a harness.
The kids are gonna love this too. They'll always ask about you and Charlie, you know. I'm sure they do, I replied. The kids must have been at least pushing 20 by now. I doubt they spared much thought towards what I was up to, but it was nice of her to lie to me, I guess. Looking at the harness and the camera, the first thing that came to my mind was Charlie's not gonna be happy about this. But I kept that thought to myself. Aside from moderately annoying the poor cat a little bit, the whole idea seemed harmless enough. Besides, maybe we'd actually see something interesting when we look back at the footage.
Sarah, of course, showed me how to set everything up. She showed me how to access the video by myself, and I'd say I got a hang of it moderately quickly. I knew the steps at least, and if I got stuck, I could always call her. Then after chatting for a while longer, she went home and let me return to my solitude. Charlie hadn't come back home yet.
Huh?
Charlie hadn't come back home yet, although he usually didn't show up until sundown. So I set everything aside and sat down to read a book. At some point, I fell asleep in my chair.
Fuck.
Why did you react so crazily?
Because the suspense is building.
Okay.
You don't feel like the suspense is building? Like, you know,
It's
something's gonna go
building.
down.
I want to know.
Something's gonna go
I know
down.
what the flip is gonna happen.
Yeah, he just wants to be by himself, mate. Just put the, get
That's
that daughter
true.
out of here, mate. Get Sarah out of here.
Get
I just want
who?
Charlie by myself. Sarah, the daughter.
Oh, okay. Dang. So, what are you speculating anything? What do you like? Do you think the cat will come back, or?
I mean, yeah, I want to see what the heck the cat's doing up over there.
The cat always comes back. What do you mean?
Yeah.
When I woke up, it was dawn and I could see Charlie sitting on the banister of the porch, right outside the window, so I know he was there when I woke up. As soon as he saw me moving, he started mewling and pacing around. I picked myself up, stretched, and shuffled over to the door to let him in. He scurried indoors and went straight for the food bowl, and as he did, I noticed that he left something on the deck. I gleamed brightly in the morning sun, and I slowly bent down to pick it up. It was a necklace. Judging by the tarnish on it, it was real silver. The chain looked broken, but the charm looked alright. It depicted a little heart. Nothing fancy, but it was something good for a lady, I suppose. No engravings on it. No sign of who it belonged to. It was likely that nobody would come looking for this, but I still took it to the sink to wash it off before I put it in the drawer with the rest. The drawer rattled with old rings, necklaces, earrings, and rare coins that Charlie had brought over the years.
The old cat himself was going to town on his dry food bowl as if he'd never seen food before in his life. I honestly felt a little bad for him and hoped he hadn't been waiting too long. I went to fetch some wet food for him, partially as an apology and partially because I knew he'd start to get mouthy with me if I didn't give him a proper breakfast. I too tired to listen to that old man bitch. Charlie's a good cat, despite his attitude. He's a graying Maine Coon with a mean face, although he always melted like butter in Adeline's hands. She was always inclined to baby him, but I always saw him as a fellow curmudgeon to pass the days with. I've never actually told anyone this, but I always imagined he'd have a bit of a southern drawl if he could talk, and that he'd sound a little bit like John Wayne.
Oh, a southern cat. Where do you think this is taking place?
He said Maine. Maine Coon.
Oh, he said it was Maine?
So that's in the north. But this cat is southern. You would have southern accent.
Yeah.
But this is
Southern accent.
No, south, like south, right?
Well, Mammoth says he said Maine, but
Maine.
I was picturing
Where does this
northeast.
like earlier in the story? I was thinking it was like Louisiana.
I guess.
Or something.
But I was picturing like Appalachia, the Appalachian Mountain range.
Where is that?
Oh, where the flip is that? Isn't that?
That's
like,
the northeast too, kind of. That's like the northeast,
But
but
like,
not super northeast. Good question.
Bruh,
I don't know where.
are you even sure? You know what?
Bro, I thought that was in Europe or something.
What?
Nah, it's in New York. New York into Pennsylvania. Okay, so yeah. Maine is pretty much just
You thought
northern of the.
Appalachian was
northeast.
Europe.
I was confusing it with something else.
I don't even want to know.
Yeah.
As soon as he heard me open up the wet food, he was right at my ankles, expectantly mewing and demanding his breakfast. I figured it wasn't wise to keep him waiting. I set the bowl down on the kitchen table and let him jump up to eat his fill while I started on my own breakfast. Charlie had a nap while I ate, sleeping in the armchair Adeline had once liked to sit in. I didn't bother him until around noon when I remembered the camera that Sarah had bought. I left it in the living room, and while I hadn't put too much thought into putting it on Charlie, the memory of the necklace I'd found that morning had gotten me thinking. Where was my old friend getting all that junk? Was he finding it? Stealing it? What? I suppose the camera was likely to answer that. Sarah had already picked my curiosity as to where he went, but that posed a question that required an immediate answer.
Charlie was out cold, with that contented look of cats have when they sleep. And he paid me no mind as I got up to fetch the camera. I read over the instructions again and played with it before I actually tried to set it up. I recorded a little snippet of footage of Charlie napping there on the couch and popped that into my computer to review. The quality of the camera seemed fairly nice. It was easy enough to access the files. Might we well go and make sure the harness fit? Charlie only gave some slight protest when I bothered him to put the harness on. I'd committed the sin of awaking him, although he gave me a pass despite clearly being grumpy.
Sorry, old timer, I said before scratching him under his chin. I fastened the harness around him, then fitted the camera onto his chest. Guess I'll be along for your next adventure, huh? He just chirped at me and sniffed my fingers, then flopped back down to continue his rest. He didn't stay that way for long. Within the next 10 minutes or so, he was back at the door, stretching and pacing, ready to set out on the road again.
I checked to make sure that his camera was on before setting him loose. Happy trails, Pilgrim, I said under my breath as he scampered outside, bound down the stairs. He stopped to look back at me briefly before he took off into the forest, and I knew I probably wouldn't see him again until nightfall.
Normally, I'd have been in bed by 9, considering I was up early, but thinking about Charlie and what I'd find on his camera kept me up, and I couldn't help but feel the house was a little too quiet for a change. I put the TV on to try and distract myself since reading hadn't quite done the trick. I poured myself a hard drink as well. No harm in that, I figured. It had been a while since I indulged. Not since Adeline's funeral. We buried an empty casket. There hadn't been a body. After 2 months of looking, there wasn't much point in pretending as if she was ever coming back. My mind stayed sharp over the years. Adeline wasn't quite as lucky. Dementia ran in her family. We'd seen it happen to her mother. A slow, cruel decline. We'd both feared for years that it would happen to her too. Then we started seeing the signs. Neither of us acknowledged it, even when they became too large to ignore. Oh shit! So she went.
That was crazy.
That's kind of creepy, right? It's already like it's setting in.
Yeah.
That's
Bro, if your mom goes missing, then of course, like the daughter's gonna be like super like careful about her dad and stuff, right?
That would make sense why she's. Well, I mean, on top of that, he's like far away, so I mean, it would make sense for her to want to go. But yeah, after losing her mom, I could see why she's like.
That's crazy.
So they never found her.
Yeah, they never found her. It was just an open casket. I mean, empty.
Empty casket, yeah.
Yeah, it's getting a little weird, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
All right.
Your turn.
Sarah was over constantly back then, doing what she could to help us out. Adeline was a strong-willed woman up until the end. Though Sarah suggested retirement homes, neither of us wanted to go. She wasn't feeble. She and I had taken care of ourselves. We'd kept our health into our old age. We even went on walks through the trails behind the house. Going into some home where they'd infantilize her, treat her as if she was less of a person just because she was old and sick, take her out of the home she'd known for years. I couldn't do that to her. I didn't even want to watch her go through that. And I would have been damned if I let her go without me. No. She was my wife, in sickness and in health, until death do us part. Those were the vows. I would honor them until death. death.
When I was a young man in my 20s and looking to propose, the prospect of growing old together terrified me. I wouldn't give back the memories we made together, though. Not for anything. But back then, the idea of one day losing her or knowing the pain she might feel if she lost me, now that would sometimes creep into the back of my mind. I always banish it, dismissing it as something to worry about in the future. Then, one morning, I woke up to find the spot in the bed beside me empty when I never saw her again. Then I had to accept that eventually had finally come. You know, like imagine you married, you're married to someone, and one day you wake up and your spouse is gone from your bed. Shit, that'd be fucking scary.
And you never see them again.
Yeah, that's crazy.
How would you feel, mate?
I would keep looking for them.
You would go in the woods, mate?
I would probably be delusional and hope that
Man, you're already delusional.
Just keep looking for them. Yeah.
oh my gosh, I wouldn't lose hope.
Bro, I'd go in there with like a fucking machete, like ready. But yeah, that's fucking scary. And then what makes it even more scary is that it's like in the woods. Like there's no one that like, hey, have you seen my wife? Did you see someone walk around, or is there anything you saw? It's just she's gone. But yeah, that sucks. That's really hard to unpack.
The police suggested that she'd gone on a hike alone. She'd done that before when we were younger. I didn't argue with them. I imagined that's just what she did. She woke up forgetting the year that had passed, looked out into the crisp morning air and decided to enjoy it. She walked out and she never came back in. Maybe she'd forgotten the trail, got turned around, and wandered deeper into the woods. Maybe she'd fallen, hurt herself, and even been found. Whatever ending had befallen her, I prefer not to think about it. It was better that I didn't know, even if not knowing was the cruelest thing in the world.
Sarah was there for me, of course. I suppose it's why she doted on me so much in a year or so since. I wonder if deep down she fears that one day I'll follow Adeline into those woods and she'll never see me again either. The scotch sat in my hand as I stared blank at the TV, not really watching the infomercial on the screen. A flash of my movement from the corner of my eye drew my attention and tore me away from my thoughts. Charlie paced on the back porch outside. The camera harness on him looked unharmed. I set my glass down and stood up to let him in. Wait. Have you ever had scotch? What is scotch?
No, it's just whiskey. It's a whiskey from Scotland.
Hey, actually, let me share a story. So, me and Ivan went to Austin for South by Southwest. When did we go? What year was that? Like 2017, 18, 19?
2019.
Well, we had went and we were having fun, a good time. And then Ivan calls me over and he's like, "Hey, I'll buy you a shot." And I was like, I'm not a big liquor person, so I was like, I guess. Ivan never freaking buys me anything, so it's rare that Ivan offers you anything, honestly. So
That's fucked up to say.
You remember, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
So we're at this bar in Austin, and it was like stories up, right?
It was a hotel bar. It was like, yeah, a fancy hotel.
And we just walked in, right? There wasn't like...
Yeah, there's supposed to be like a band, but it was kind of like whatever band.
I barely even remember, actually. I just remember...
It was just like for ambience. It wasn't like even a concert or anything. It was just like some band.
Yeah, but it was super fancy, right? I remember that.
Yeah.
And well, he calls me over, And then they give us a shot, and then they give us that ice ball. It looks super nice. You know?
Yeah.
And then I was like, "What is this?" He was like, "What did you say it was?" It was that.
It was it's a Japanese whiskey.
He's like, "It's a Japanese whiskey that PewDiePie likes," and I was like,
Oh.
and you were like, "I don't know." You're like, "I just wanted to try it," and then we drank it. It tasted like ass. It was ass. It was cheeks. It sucked.
I liked it.
No, you didn't. You were like,
For a whiskey, it was okay. Like, for a whiskey, it was fine. But
well, mind you, I don't think I was working at the time, so like I had some money saved, but I didn't really like. I wasn't gonna spend that much. Like we were getting free beer and stuff, right? Like the whole night.
yeah.
Not because people were buying this, because they were just handing out shit.
Yeah.
And then the tab came, and then I think I was like, "Hey, like," he's like, I was like, "You got it?" And you were like, "Yeah." You're like, I invited you to the shot or whatever," and I was like, "Okay." And the shot, each one was $20 fucking.
Yeah, it ended up being almost $50.
Mate, he fucking invited me to a shot, and the shot was $20. And then Ivan was mad at the bar lady or the bartender, because
Oh my gosh.
because she was like, "Oh yeah, it's gonna be like $50," and then Ivan was like, "What?" And then you looked at the tab and you were like, "The shot was $20," and you were like, "Freaking girl, she should have told me it was gonna be $20." She looked like she didn't even care. Like she was like, "Oh yeah, here you go. You ordered what you wanted."
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah.
I paid for my freaking shot. $20 worth of shot.
$20.
That's the
Yeah.
most expensive shot I've ever had.
PewDiePie shot.
It was
PewDiePie shot.
it was probably
We could have bought the whole bottle.
a bottle of something. No, but I think it's because it was imported. I'm sure it was Japanese.
Mm.
I don't know. Anyways, back to the scotch. The scotch freaking reminded me of that. Okay. So he's drinking scotch. Charlie paced at the. Okay, so he came back with the camera, right? In the footage, I'm sure.
Or the camera.
Yeah. I set my glass down and stood up to let him in. Have a nice adventure, old timer, I asked. He just went straight for his food bowl. Dinner time. I let him gorge himself on dry food while I got a tin of wet food for him. That got his attention, and he hopped up on the kitchen table to await his feast.
You're a spoiled cat, aren't you? I asked. I bet if he could have responded, he had said something like, "You bet your ass, Pilgrim."
As he ate, I took the camera off his chest and undid the harness. He seemed happy to have it off. The camera was a little bit dirtier and had stopped recording some time ago. I vaguely recalled Sarah said something about the camera not having a hell of a lot of battery life. A couple of hours or something. I probably wouldn't have gone the full adventure, but that was fine by me. I doubt I'd have missed anything that interesting.
I was tired and I wanted to go to sleep, but the camera called to me. I can't wait to explain the sense of urgency I felt about looking at the footage. Maybe I was more bored with my routine than I thought, and at very least, the footage might be somewhat interesting. I gave Charlie a pat on the head before deciding a cup of tea might give me the boost I needed to go through the footage. When all was said and done, Charlie had gotten comfortable in his favorite chair, and I retired to my hot tea to the office. I plugged the camera into my computer and took a sip of my drink.
Oh shit! It's gonna go down.
We're about to find out.
Okay, what do you think? Any thoughts of what could be on that camera?
I just want to know where they're getting
Bigfoot.
Bigfoot. I just want to know where they're getting the freaking jewelry and stuff.
Yeah, mate. Any thoughts?
He did say, speculated that it was gonna be hikers that just were losing
Maybe it's
stuff.
like crazy people in the woods,
Don't know.
or like entities.
Yeah. There were only a couple videos stored on the camera. I recognized a few of the test videos I'd taken by the thumbnails. The last one, though, it must have taken its thumbnail from a random point in the video. It looked almost pitch black, as if something were obscuring the camera. I frowned at the sight of it and hoped like hell the file wasn't messed up somehow. I'd have needed to call Sarah if it was, and who knew when she could make it out to see me.
I clicked the video anyway, just to see what happened. I didn't expect it to start, but it did. I could see part of Charlie's head and my own jean-clad legs as I turned the camera on. I remembered this. This was just before I let him out. Happy trails, pilgrim, I heard myself say before the back door opened and Charlie was set loose upon to the forest.
What had followed was some rather neat looking footage of Charlie sculled around some bushes and to tall grass. But I can't really say it was all that interesting. He climbed some falling branches and made his way into one of the neighbors' yards. He watched them for a little while and even ate some treats they left out, seeming to be for him, the little glutton. Then he went back off into the woods. I'm sure at one point I saw him pass the hiking trail that Adeline and I used to walk. I recognized the little creek that he walked along as he moved deeper into the forest. There was a familiar rustle of grass and water as he walked along, although the sound quickly became annoying, so I lowered the volume. I couldn't help but wonder where the hell he was going out there. But I imagine he was probably just hunting. Maybe he'd kill a mouse or something. I got it.
Got what?
What if the cat finds the body of the lady, of the woman,
Oh my god.
No, like she
of his
left-
wife?
She left and just died in the woods, like walking, or
Yeah, maybe the cat's gonna find her. That's my theory.
okay.
Maybe.
Mate, you agree?
Perhaps.
All right. I can't say anything, so. The canopy above him seemed to get a few shades darker as he climbed up onto a fallen birch tree. The loose bark crinkled under his paws. The tree seemed to lead up to another taller tree. The canopy above was thick enough that it almost seemed like nighttime, despite it still being fairly early in the day. Excuse me. Looking at the timestamp of the video, he'd only been out for an hour and a bit. He moved along the branch of the taller tree, walking as if he knew where he was going. I could have sworn I caught a glimpse of something ahead of him. At a glance, it looked a little bit like a bird's nest, although it seemed rather large. That said, I knew some birds like large nests. The longer I watched, the more glimpses I caught of the thing. It was definitely a nest of some sort. Twigs and leaves had been deliberately put together to form something, although this was bigger than any bird's nest I'd seen before.
It seemed to completely dominate. What?
Big bird. Big bird, I reckon.
It seemed to completely dominate the top of the tree, and Charlie kept climbing as if it hadn't quite reached the top yet. Hell, I couldn't even see the sides of the thing. It seemed less like a nest and more like a wall of branches that seemed to be too big and too thick for a regular bird to lift. After a while, one of the branches that Charlie climbed seemed to turn towards the nest. Getting closer, I could have sworn I saw bits of rope holding some of the larger sticks, or perhaps it would be more apt to call them branches together. I didn't get it. I didn't get that good of a look though.
Charlie seemed to weave his way through a gap in the nest, creeping in as if he owned the place. The inside seemed pitch black. Charlie moved slowly, carefully choosing each step as he drew closer. It was over a minute until there was any light again, long enough to make me check and see if the video had ended. But there was still about half an hour left. At last, he seemed to emerge onto the other side of whatever wall he had just passed through. The light inside the nest was scarce. The interior was scattered with large black feathers, and I could see the sunlight glinting off bits of shiny things. Tin cans, children toys, pocket watches, hood ornaments, jewelry. So it was a giant bird is stealing all these things. Bird.
And then the cat stealing the jewelry from the bird.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
What the Sigma?
What? This is interesting. Okay.
What do you think?
No, you don't ever steal from a big bird.
Hey,
Yeah, that seems not a good idea.
hey, that cat. That cat. You know,
It's got some balls.
I'm pretty sure this is an orange cat. This has to be an orange cat. Am I right? This is orange cat behavior.
Fred.
Was this where he was getting all that? What the hell was this? Some kind of massive crow's nest? I was hardly an expert on crows, but I couldn't imagine they'd ever make a nest that large. Charlie paused as if looking or listening for something before he continued. He paused to sniff a few pieces of discarded junk before he casually making his way over to the far side of the nest. As he walked, I noticed the shapes of things that didn't quite look like branches or sticks. They were brownish in color and seemed to blend in easily. But the shape of them was all wrong. Branches don't have those smooth edges. Branches don't curve inwards on themselves. And branches don't have eye sockets. What does that mean?
Something is feasting on people. Probably, right?
What?
I could see the skull of some sort of animal, a large rodent of some kind staring emptily from the interwoven branches. I could see bones with smaller twigs wrapped around them, used almost as additional support for the structure of this nest. And as Charlie walked, I saw something that made my heart begin to beat faster as a sick sensation filled with my stomach. I've seen human skulls on TV, but never in real life. Had it not been for the matted black hair that still clung to the scalp, I might have been able to dismiss the idea that it was anyone else. But I knew that hair. I'd kissed that head 1,000 times over a lifetime together. I remembered the laughing eyes in those now empty sockets. Even in death, I recognized my Adeline.
And I called it, but this is weirder than what I called, because I just called the body, but I didn't call a big ass nest.
She's in some kind of nest.
Yeah, I didn't call that.
Yeah, it's weird, right?
Yeah. Or what was left of my Adeline. How many of her bones had been added to this nest? Her body alone could have been what became its foundation. How many others had been claimed as construction material for this nest? Oh, God, oh, dear God.
Charlie sat reverently before Adeline's skull, and I knew that he had recognized her too. He'd almost certainly come there to mourn, to pay his respects, or simply to be with her, even if she was long gone. I could only pray that whatever had done this to her had only taken her after she died, but from the gashes in that bone, I feared that wasn't the case. But what could have done something like this? What could have taken her? What could have... Charlie had been sitting quietly for almost 10 minutes as I placed my hands to my mouth, stifling my own cries of grief. Then he moved. Suddenly, as if something had startled him, from the speakers I heard a raspy sound, an inhuman hiss that sounded like a cross between a sadistic cackle and a cattering of some large bird. Charlie scurried out of sight, moving between another gap in the branches of the nest before positioning himself to look back.
Through the gaps in the branches and the bones, I could see something else hard had entered the nest. Although I could not see fully what it was, all I could see was two scaled legs that each ended with a four-toed claw, just like a bird of prey. It chittered and crackled as it approached the spot where Charlie had been, moving awkwardly as it hopped closer. I could see long black feathers trailing down from the creature's body as it continued to chitter. It seemed to inspect the spot where Charlie had been, and I heard him hiss. I didn't do much to deter the creature as that was hunting for him. The creature that had likely killed my wife.
So what do you think this chitter sounds like? Like, I feel like it's like... No, wait, no, not that. No.
What the hell was it?
No. Nah, never mind. I thought of how it would sound, and then, like... Wait, like a fucking turkey?
More like,
God.
yeah, what does a crow sound like, man?
Mate,
A call.
what was that?
Oh, I think I got it. Like a puka.
Like a book? Hey,
But like emphasis on the ka.
Mate, you sound like a turkey again, mate.
Oh.
Ka.
No, it's like a... something like that.
It's a chitter, not a... Like a... Like a... Oh, you're talking about the crows, or you're talking about...
Like when a little animal squeaks. It's like a little animal squeak.
I don't think this is a little animal, Ivan.
Whoa, it's a big animal squeak.
This thing is like not real.
Not real? Probably. Well, I don't know. So you think
Something that we, at least that we know about.
Yeah, but this thing ate her, right, mate?
Perhaps. Might have.
Yeah, or she could have just died and the bird just picked it up?
I don't think.
Picked her up?
I don't think so.
You think the bird killed her?
No, not according to the gashes, bro.
Oh, true.
Ooh,
Yeah.
you're right.
Okay. Alrighty, let's power through this. I could hear the rustling of the sticks, and the camera blurred as Charlie moved again to crawl out of the nest. He moved through the gaps in the branches as if he'd done this 1,000 times and found his way onto a long branch that led down. Then he ran for freedom, and the very last shot I saw in that video was the blur of the ground beneath him. As the video ended, I couldn't help but notice my Charlie in the doorway of my office. His eyes were wide and alert. His ears were raised as if the sounds of whatever creature he'd encountered had frightened him.
With a shaking hand, I coaxed him over to me, and he jumped onto my desk. I'm not sure if he was there to protect me or if he wanted me to protect him. Either way, I was glad to have his company. I pulled the old man into my lap to hold him tight, and it took him a few minutes before he seemed to relax again. Lucky cat. I don't think I'll ever be able to relax again. I've rewatched the footage countless times by now. I haven't told Sarah anything. When she asked if I'd put the camera on Charlie yet, I told her I'd get around to it. She can never see what I've seen. She can never know what I know happened to her mother. Never.
Damn. So, what if you saw that? What would you think? I probably would get the fuck out of there.
I wouldn't get the fuck out of there. I'd like go get her body. Like I go call the police.
Oh,
I get her body.
Okay. But okay, look, you don't know where this cat went. Remember, it was dark. This isn't like a freaking backyard, couple of trees.
Yeah, but like, what if
He
this
was-
freak?
He knows like that it was near the trail that he used to walk, so he could maybe find it like
Oh yeah, maybe.
after a couple of days, I guess.
So realistically,
This freaking bird's crazy though. I would like, we gotta stop this fucking bird, whatever it is.
you'd be the hero, Ivan.
Or when you want revenge, like I'm gonna kill that bird because it killed my wife.
I don't know. I feel like this bird is like larger than life. Like this isn't like just a regular bird. Like this is like an
Yeah.
entity, a bird entity. You really
Mm.
want to go messing around with that? As an 85-year-old.
If it killed your wife, he's probably got a shotgun somewhere.
I guess, right? Yeah, I mean, if I was 85 and I lost my wife, I'd probably be like, you know what?
Yeah,
I'm just gonna go try to fight this. I'm going out there. I don't care if I die.
yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Alrighty. But I'm not foolish enough to delete that footage. If ever proof is needed, it needs to be accessible. To Sarah or to anyone else who may need it, should I not return from the woods today. Oh shit! He's going in there!
He's going in there.
I haven't hunted in years, but I dusted off my old rifle from the garage. It still works fine, and I've got bullets. I don't know if I'm half the shot I used to be. It's one thing to hit a few tin cans out in the backyard. It's another to hit a moving target. But I'm sure I'll manage one way or another.
I'm sure I can follow the path that Charlie took. Not exactly, but close enough. I'm sure that if I go out into the woods, I can find the nest. I can find whatever horrible thing lives there. And when I do, by God, I will kill it for Adeline. For Adeline.
For Adeline.
For Adeline! Demacia.
Damn.
Yup. So that thoughts?
It's interesting that he started at the beginning talking about how he was reading like mystery books
Oh yeah.
like his wife
Oh yeah, that's what.
that his wife would read.
Mm-hmm.
And then this whole thing became a mystery.
So I think so I didn't read this. I heard it 2 years ago. And I think this is like a bird entity. I think it's called the rake, I think.
The rake.
Yeah. I mean, if you look it up, mate. Or
It
whoever.
has like scaly legs
I mean, it's a bird.
or scaly legs.
Mate, look up the rake. What does it say? Or
The
what?
Break is a monster in online horror fiction genre creepypasta.
Okay, well, I mean, I think there's a bird rake. But thing is, this
It's
is
not a bird.
I'm pretty sure it's a bird because it's like a nest and it's in a tree. Well, I mean, what else? could
Yeah,
be
but
there?
Well, when I look up rake bird, it doesn't come up. It's like just a rake is a thing by itself.
Okay, fine. I'm pretty sure it's a bird entity. Can
Yeah,
I agree on that,
yeah.
mate?
Perhaps.
So I think I don't know if I don't know what I read on it, but basically I think this bird entity calls it like sends you not messages, but it kind of like talks to you. But I'm guessing since the lady was already she had dementia. She had
Yeah.
brain, like, yeah, like mental problems. She called to her and lured her out of the house to go to the nest, and then I guess you just ate
Uh-huh.
her. And well, that entity had been eating a lot of other stuff, not just. I don't remember if they mentioned more skulls, but I just know they had like a big rodent that was there, like skull.
They had like a rat skull or
Yeah.
something.
I'm pretty sure in that
That's
forest there's
great.
like other things that aren't like uh like
Natural.
yeah, because I think they said that the rodent was like the skull looked bigger or unnatural. I think I remember it saying something like
Uh,
that. So
hmm,
yeah, there's something going on in those woods.
that's crazy. And how the hell the cat has balls, dude.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's an orange cat. It's But yeah, so basically the cat has been visiting Adeline because he misses her and just I guess tries to spend
Yeah.
any time and he could recognize her or her scent or whatever.
Yeah.
But I wonder
Interesting.
why he's bringing. Okay, so I'm okay. So he's probably eating other individuals because they bring back necklaces and pendants and
Mm,
coins. So I don't think the this bird entity is picking up freaking like jewelry off.
yeah.
So this guy is eating several hikers or several people. But why do you
Mm,
think the cat is bringing them home? Do you think it's a way trying to the cat trying to tell um the husband of where she's
yeah.
at?
That might be a good
I just
theory.
I just thought of that right now. I first because I was thinking why would the cat bring several times? This wasn't just one time. He has a drawer full of like things that the cat
Yeah,
always
jewelry
brings
and
and
stuff.
stuff. Yeah.
Or another question to ask is why would the bird not kill the cat? Maybe it's for the cat to bring for the cat's owner to come and so he can kill the cat's owner also. Maybe it's a trap.
Maybe the cat is evil. He's in on it.
I don't think the cat's evil.
I don't think the
Oh,
cat's it.
I thought that's what you were trying to imply. What the fuck?
I'm
Okay,
trying to
good.
say like maybe the bird's like, oh yeah, take all these things to your owner because eventually they're gonna come looking and then I'll
I'm
eat
gonna
them
use the
too.
cat.
I mean,
It's possible.
I guess yeah, but I feel like sometimes with animals, well, I know this is probably like a fictional, like animal,
Yeah.
but usually like sometimes when, like well, this bird is probably freaking huge. Like this is not no
Yeah.
little bird. And sometimes animals with smaller animals that don't even, they know that like, oh, this I won't get anything out of this animal. They sometimes just ignore them. So I feel like
Hmm.
maybe the bird was like, what the heck, like the cat, like get the fuck out of here. Because like,
Maybe. But what do you think is gonna happen? I think the old man's dead. I think the old man's gonna
yeah,
die.
yeah, I'm pretty sure. That's what I think is gonna happen. Also,
Yikes. 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 Yikes.
what did you guys think? It was good, right?
That's pretty good.
Uh,
Look,
Rip Adeline.
what?
Rip Adeline.
Rip Adeline for my Adeline.
Jeez.
But yeah, so that's the story we have for you guys today. It was damn, I think we were recording for like an hour or so.
Pretty long. Pretty good though.
Yeah, so we will be bringing out more stories. Hopefully better ones. We recorded some and they were okay. But
We have a backlog already because of the
yeah, we
times we've
had
tried to record. So
I know, and then Mammoth wasn't here, and then now we have my emotional support Mammoth.
Mm-hmm.
Right, mate?
Sure.
Alrighty, well, I'll see y'all on the next one. Stay spooky. Spook Nation.
Thanks for being spooky.
Yeah.
Spook
Follow us
Nation.
on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok
TikTok.
at Two Spooky Dudes. See y'all on the next one. Peace.